So hello, everybody. Excuse me for my voice a little bit. And thank you so much for joining us. And today we will present the topic based on our paper, how predictive software engineering addresses issues in custom software development and how to boost efficiency and productivity. So the predictive software engineering framework was developed by our CEO and President Boris Kontsevoi. It is widely and worldwide supported by engineering community and our team. And today you have a unique chance to speak and to ask questions to our CTO, Alexey Velesnitsky. He has more than 70 years of experience and will cover more in detail the topic.
Hello, thank you again so much for joining us today. Irina, thank you for passing me the ball. And today we will cover, as already said, what is predictive software engineering, how it was developed inside the Intetics. And basically it's a framework and methodology that was initiated by the founder of the Intetics company, Boris Kontsevoi. And the main reason it was designed to eliminate or at least minimize the unpredictability of software development. So the basement for that predictive engineering framework was that the company had already like 28 plus years of successful software development. We delivered many projects in a reliable and systematic approach. We know how to transform requirements into working business solutions. And based on this basement, there was an idea to create predictive software engineering, and it consists of 7 principles, 7 sections. The first one is meaning customer care, second, transparent end control, proven productivity next, efficient distributed teams. The predictive software engineering itself is a superset of discipline agile delivery process. That is one of the standards of the market. Well, let's continue. So let's get back to the PSE itself. And the first principle is basically the meaningful customer care. And we actually know that in terms of software development and in terms of outsourcing software development, the customer is usually put first in any type of organization. So it's very important not to only track how we deal with the clients, but make them sort of happy and create even better relationship. So internally, we have designed some 8 strategies inside this concept that it's better to have a customer portal with the self-service tools. We actually had based on in a conference for that too. There must be some sort of onboarding process for a customer. We have to be transparent and have to have the transparent governance model. For any customer escalation, there must be developed an efficient plan. Usually it starts from the project manager inside the concrete project. The early problem discovery should be prioritized. The customer complaints should be analyzed. And the more important, the customer expectations must be managed and set with realistic boundaries. And I'm talking about the estimates, the product milestones, and something else. So let's move to the next one. The second concept is transparent end-to-end control. And basically, as we may know, the transparency and it can be hard to achieve in terms of engineering level, because it's always a challenge how to properly measure the productivity of the distributed teams. So in terms of building trust and have to transparent end-to-end control, you must build trust with the external stakeholders, and this is called external transparency. We usually use like Agile project management, including the Scrum or Kanban in our products. Basically, you need to regularly discuss governance across the team. The workload management and time tracking software, such as Jira, for example, must be on every project working on in the company. There must be status reports in the products. So basically, you have to have internal status reports and something shareable to the clients. The on-site visits should be planned, and they must be correlated with the major events. For example, with a project launch or major deliveries or moving project from the on live to support phase, for example. Talking about internal transparency, this is something that should happen inside on a project, actually. So we're talking about the activities related with the project manager check-ins, the department head meetings with the project members, and the involvement of the talent management team inside the control of these teams. The third concept is proven productivity. This is what I was talking about, how to properly measure the software engineers. Defining and measuring the productivity of software engineers is pretty hard, actually. But there are some tricks that you can use it. And basically, we're using the quality and technical debt reduction system developed in-house. And this tool will be covered shortly. But also, we may say that it's important to focus at least on 10 KPIs to measure velocity. It's basically planned versus actual hours spent on a product development. Static code analysis for the entire project. Static code analysis for individual developers. There is a popular metric like bugs per line of code. For example, 1 bug per 1,000 lines. Bugs per feature. And some sort of issues like security issues and checks for that. To some sort of prove productivity and to measure productivity with KPI, there must be at least 2 code reviews for different developers, the document code reviews from multiple perspectives, from the stakeholder, and the code itself inside the project must be reviewed incrementally, less than 500 lines at a time. Moving to the next one. The whole concept of the PSE is based on that we provide an efficient distributed teams. And by saying that, we mean that actually the clear roles and responsibilities will be defined in the team. So the team will consist not more than 1 project manager, not more than 1 business analyst. It's not effective to have, for standard case actually, to have many analysts in the team. Basically, there will be couple of senior engineers, middle engineers. The structure will be pretty narrow, and the whole team, using that distributed team means that we kind of remote ready, and the customers who are using that team, they basically using can assemble a global workforce for that distributed team. So the cost savings, the time effectiveness, and the talent pool diversification, because you can hire from anywhere, is unmatched, actually. Itself, when we say that the PSE is organization-based framework, it's actually driven behind the scenes by disciplined agile delivery process, which is pretty standard. I suppose you're familiar with it. It contains 3 phases, with the inception phase, when you actually have to define the project vision, the vision of what the requirements are, meeting with the stakeholders should be organized. The construction phase, where the building project and the software development happen. When the deployments are set, when continuous integration tools, continuous delivery tools are actually built up in the system. And transition. It's actually moving project live. Deploy phase, basically it's pretty standard. Inside the company, we will have projects working on a Scrum, Kanban, or any other methodology, but basically they are all subset of disciplined agile delivery process. Going to the 6th component, and we're talking about here how to...
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. How to measure the quality and the technical debt reduction. So basically, it's very important thing to measure the quality of the code, because the developers and testers will receive objective assessment of their work. And basically, you can say how the system is relevant for investors, for the customers, with the help of the result, because you can see is there many bugs or there are many problems in the code base. Let's go to the next one. And last concept is sound human development. So this is a proper name how treat the people, engineers, and people in the team as humans. So basically, the discipline agile delivery by itself, the PSC, it's human-oriented framework. For example, in a company, every single engineer, the senior level, has individual learning path. That means that the training and certification of employees are performed on a daily manner, actually, basically. So you have to continuously improve. When we say that we have a special human resources department that treats our engineers, that works with them, and they promote them to learn something new. Actual things that help adopting PSC, that all of these components designed to cover specific software development risks. For example, not defined scope can be tracked, as I said, with a transparent control component. Faulty estimates, discipline agile delivery come into place, and using that, you basically can define the new scope or realize what is going on in the system. If you need the more skilled developers, basically the sound human development tries to mitigate that risk, because the developers in the company and in the framework PSC, I have to learn and have to make certificates in their area. For example, if there is a risk for resource shortage, the distributed team may help with that, because you probably can hire additional team if the capacity of the current team is not enough for the upcoming work. PSC basically is stated and have a concrete concept with, as I mentioned, but it's evolving structure. We constantly invite other development companies to join us and to continue work on that. For now, that's all from my presentation. Please do not hesitate to ask your questions.
I just would like to add that predictive software engineer. So we developed this article in co-authorship, and Alexey is one of the major author of the framework, and he is implementing it on daily basis. But also it's worldwide engineering network practice that people are sharing with us worldwide. That's why we are promoting this community and welcoming to join us in this framework development and sharing best practices. And thank you. Please, could you ask our questions?
I have a question to Alexey.
Interesting presentation. So I have one question about predictive analytics. Can you give more information about how and where you plan to embed such predictive tools in your software?
Basically, when I'm saying, thank you for that question, first of all. When I'm saying the predictive software engineering is the framework that tries to mitigate the risk and make deliverable increments on time. That doesn't mean that you are bounded to specific tools during your software development. Actually, what I'm trying to say, to be predictive, you have to plan by using the tracking tools, have regular meetings, component number 2, constantly analyze and improve your team, and on a daily matter, measure the productivity of a team by using the code reviews, standards, how many templates used, for example, how many bugs per feature implemented, and according to that statistics. This is usually done by a project manager as such tools as Jira, GitLab, GitHub, or Cruise Control, who these tools basically perform deployment of the code, and the team has all the statistics. And the manager or team lead has to analyze that. In that way, it can predict if there will be a successful release on a planet milestone or not, actually. So in terms of predictability, we're talking about Power BI graphic with the all release timeline and the successful or not the probability of next release.
Okay, thank you so much. If you have any other questions, now is the time.
I have just one question. You said that in your KPIs for productivity, you are using bugs per feature. I understand that perfectly fine. But when you speak about bugs in the lines of code, do you think lines of code is still a relevant parameter when the languages are actually evolving to Python, where single line of code actually contains a lot of content?
Perfect question. When I'm saying this is like a 10 standard KPIs, I'm not saying like that all of them are mandatory actually. But what I'm trying to say, there are languages. For example, not all our projects in the company have the same technology stack, if you understand. Some written on the TypeScript, some written on the Java and C#. And for the backend type of languages, I mean when there is a concrete backend layer with the API, and for example, Java.NET code, this is, I'm not the big fan of this metric, but you can say, we can say, hey, it's not the bug per 1,000 lines of code, probably bug per 1,000 lines of code inside the specific folder of the only C# code. So if that makes sense for you. So basically, I'm not saying we have measure every single template or boilerplate code, generated code, not the behavior, but only that the team was actually the core, for example, of the product. If you, for example, processing the video or just processing the data between the two separate databases, it's a crucial part. This metric may help, but this is not the only one. This is not the mandatory for all projects. For example, if you design in the UI layer on a TypeScript using the Angular or, for example, React.js, it's not mandatory to have such metrics for that type of product.
Yeah, that's insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.